There's a part of you that you've spent your whole life hiding. A part that says no, that wants, that doesn't apologize for taking up space. You learned to suppress it, to call it too much, to fear it. But it didn't go anywhere. It simply went into the shadows. The ancients gave it a name, Lilith, and turned her into a demon, because they didn't know what to do with her. Today, we talk about the part of you that you might also consider something dangerous. The story of Lilith appears in ancient texts. Sumerian, Jewish, Kabbalistic. Versions differ, but the essence is the same. Lilith was the first woman, created not from Adam's rib, but from the same earth, equal to him. But when Adam demanded she submit, Lilith refused. She said, "Why should I lie beneath you? We were created equal." And she left, by herself, of her own free will. For this she was cast out of paradise, turned into a demoness, accused of killing infants, seducing men, bringing destruction. For thousands of years Lilith was the symbol of what to fear in a woman. Uncontrollable, defiant, the one who chooses herself. But let's look at this differently. What did Lilith actually do? She refused a relationship where she wasn't considered an equal. She chose exile over submission. She said no, and she paid for it. Does this sound familiar? Maybe you also once said no and were punished for it. Not with exile from paradise, but in your own way. With rejection. With criticism. With guilt. And you learned. You learned not to say no. Not to want too much. Not to take up too much space. To be convenient. And the Lilith inside you remained. Only now you yourself call her too much. Too sharp. Too demanding. I want too much. Too emotional. These too muchs aren't your words. These are other people's voices you absorbed. In Jungian psychology, there's the concept of the shadow. These are the parts of us we suppress because they don't fit the image we want to show the world. Lilith is the shadow archetype of femininity. What doesn't fit the image of the good girl? Strength, rage, sexuality, the right to say no, the right to want. When a woman suppresses her Lilith, she doesn't disappear. She goes into the shadow. And from there, she starts to take control. This can look like passive aggression. When you can't say no directly, and it seeps out in other ways. Like self-sabotage, when you destroy what you're building. Like physical illness, when the body holds what the voice cannot say. Like relationships with people who don't see you, because you don't see your own power. A suppressed Lilith doesn't make you good. It makes you exhausted. Because suppressing yourself takes an enormous amount of energy. There's another extreme. When Lilith takes over completely. Without integration, without balance. This can look like destroying everything around you. An inability to be close to anyone. Rage that burns through relationships. Leaving any situation at the first sign of discomfort. This isn't a liberated Lilith. This is a wounded Lilith who is defending herself. Healthy integration isn't about unleashing Lilith without limits. And it's not about locking her away forever. It's about acknowledging her. Giving her space. Hearing what she wants to say. What does it mean to integrate your Lilith? It means allowing yourself to say no without justification. Not because you owe everyone an explanation, but because no is a complete sentence. It means acknowledging your desires, even if they're inconvenient, even if someone calls them too much. It means stopping apologizing for taking up space, for having an opinion, for existing. It means tolerating other people's displeasure when you don't submit, and not falling apart because of it. Lilith is not a demon. Lilith is your power, which you fear, because you were taught to fear it. But power doesn't disappear when it's suppressed. It simply waits. Maybe it's time to stop exiling her. You thought being good meant being loved. But try asking yourself, at what cost? And what will happen if you allow yourself to be whole? If this resonated with you, subscribe. This is where we talk about the things people usually stay silent about. In the next video, we look at the kindness that hides fear, and why our desire to help others might not be a virtue at all, but a trauma response in disguise.